Well, my friends, this beautiful motorcycle in front of us, the 2025 Triumph Scrambler 400X, our loan is done, and that means in today's video, I'm going to scoot this thing around, and we're going to talk about what it's been like having this bike in the garage and kind of going to it as just a bike I've been kind of living with. Also, we're going to be pulling double duty today because you guys are going to notice some scaffolding on the motorcycle. I do apologize. I got a lot of bad weather coming, so I'm trying to film multiple videos at a time, doing a 360 comparison test, so that's why the extra stuff is on the bike. So you guys just ignore that stuff. That video, by the time this video comes out, that one will have already come out. So you can go watch it. Anyways, guys, if you're new to the channel, my 30-day reviews are not necessarily a review of the motorcycle with all the specs and all that kind of stuff. If you are wanting that video, we did a first ride of the bike. It'll be here. You guys can go check that out. I go into the specs a lot more in that one. This is more of my thoughts on the bike and a kind of an owner-style review of the bike and just kind of like my personal opinions. That's typically how I do these kind of long-term loaner videos, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. We have done more than just the first ride on this bike. You guys will notice we have the Yoshimura exhaust on it. We did do an exhaust install on this bike. Triumph was nice enough to let us loan the bike and let me install that exhaust, so that was super cool. Anyway, all that being said, let's get on the bike and let's skedaddle while we have some sunlight. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. We're going to head from here. We're going to commute into Atlanta. We're going to ride around Atlanta, a city setting. We're going to go around the Georgia Tech campus. I think it'll be a fun little video to kind of scoot around on this bike and, you know, dig into what this thing even is. This will be a fully road review, by the way, guys. We will be doing no off-road. Or I guess I should say it this way. I don't intend to do any off-roading in this video. We will also be in a downtown city center, so the opportunity for off-road will be minimal at best. You gotta start it out with punching that single in the face, you know what I'm saying? That is one of the things that I think Triumph did an absolutely phenomenal job with this motorcycle, was putting a single in it. For you guys that don't really know or care about motorcycle engine, you know, configurations, a single is got way more punchy power at the beginning of the rev range, and then it kind of peters out afterwards. And for a 400, I think a single is a good move because while it doesn't have a ton of power specs-wise, it does still give you that enjoyment of punching the throttle and get scooting around, especially in the areas that I feel like this motorcycle does a really good job in, which is kind of a city setting, a little commuting situation. And a lot of the riding that we're going to be doing today is that style of riding. And I think you guys are going to notice for a little 400, the thing's punchy and fun. And I really think a lot of that is because of the engine type. So guys, one of the reasons I chose to go this route is because I think there's this perception that a 400 is not fast enough to handle things like highway commuting. And I really wanted to dispel that with this motorcycle. So we're going to be commuting into Atlanta. It's about I think a 15-20 minute ride on the highway. But I just want to show you guys that this bike is totally capable of riding on the highway. It's not the engine that's going to slow it down. It's the wind resistance that you're going to feel as the rider eventually. But I don't want people that, you know, maybe have a 30 to 1 hour commute. God, it would suck to have a 1 hour commute in the morning. But I know a lot of people do. And I wouldn't want somebody to not be thinking about this motorcycle because they have a 1 hour commute and they don't think the bike would handle it. I'm going to show you guys. This thing has no problem on the highway. Look at this. In the 80s with no problem getting around traffic. The only problem you're really going to have here on the highway going this speed is the little single has to thump so hard to get you going that it's going to have a little bit of vibration in your pegs and in your mirrors specifically. So the stuff behind you is going to get a little vibrating. But for a 400 on the highway, bro, this thing is so capable. And I don't even need to be going this fast. right, we need to get all the way to the left lane. I did a dumb thing, so we're gonna have to make use of these mirrors that actually look tiny and look like they wouldn't do a good job, but they do such a better job than you would think. You know, we're going 60 miles an hour in 6th gear. We're being slowed down by traffic, and the bike has no problem. Everything is super smooth. I can clearly see the cars behind me. Long story short, easy highway situation, no problem at all. I guess one thing you might want to watch out for is maybe if it's going to be like really bad weather, which you probably wouldn't ride anyway, but you could get blown very easily with this bike. It is a lighter motorcycle, so I could see like a super strong side gust would probably push you to the side in the lane, but that's generally not really situations I think a lot of people are actually going to be riding. They're going to be like, cool, taking the car today. So it looks like speed-wise, about 75 is when the vibrations really start impairing your view in your rearview mirrors. Actually, guys, I was gonna go a little farther into Atlanta on the highway, but I thought of a cool route that'll show more of what I want to talk about with this motorcycle specifically. So we're gonna get off a little bit, and I want to talk about comfort. And so we've been on the highway for, I don't know, whatever period of time. This bike is supremely comfortable, and I was honestly surprised at going 75 miles an hour. The front of the motorcycle almost disrupts the air so much to the fact that it doesn't really feel as strong on you as it really should. So that hour commute, if you need to on this bike, is going to be even less of a problem than I was originally thinking. It must have been the last times I've been riding, it must have been like a windier day or something like that, and today's just kind of casual and chill, because that was like enjoyable. I would have honestly easily kept going. All right, guys, so we've been talking about I was talking about the comfort on the highway, and the next part I want to talk about comfort is where I really think the suspension on this bike shines, in combination with the seat. The seat is so big, so comfortable. That's one of the issues that a lot of smaller bikes have, is they're a small bike, the seats are normally small, which means it's normally an uncomfortable ride. Triumph has put a very big, comfortable seat on this bike, and despite it being a smaller motorcycle, I actually get all the comfort of something like an ADV bike or something like that. Now, that comfort is not going to be with just the seat. It's actually be with the suspension as well. The bike does have a softer suspension, which does make it slightly off-road capable. But that's one of the reasons I wanted to take this road, and why I wanted to talk about this bike being such a good city bike, which is obviously where we're taking it, is because the roads in the cities normally suck so hard for some reason. I don't understand why it's hard to get good roads in the city, but there's just this kind of shit literally everywhere. Bro, I couldn't feel that at all. So you mix that soft suspension with the seat, and you can hit potholes all day long and remain incredibly comfortable on this thing. And that's kind of been a big surprise for me. I didn't think this thing would be as enjoyable riding it in areas like this as it is. But, you know, you hit your first couple potholes and you're like, wait, I didn't feel that through my first 5 vertebrae in my back. What's going on? You start paying attention to it. And now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. One of the nitpicks I do have with the seat is that the material it's made of, I find myself, especially in city settings, you know, stuff pops up, traffic cuts you off, and you got to slam on brakes some. I do find myself under heavy braking, kind of sliding forward in the seat. Like I've, I don't know if you guys could see that, but I literally just very quickly slide forward in the seat. And I feel like I do that quite often on this motorcycle. So it's probably a combination of the seat being kind of flat and the material that it's made of. That little combination really makes it easy for you to just kind of slide about on the seat. Only under hard braking, though. That's the only time I've really noticed it. Big bump, no problem. This. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that this bike doesn't even blink at, dude. All right, guys, the next thing I want to talk about with this bike that I absolutely have fallen in love with is the maneuverability. Obviously, it goes without saying how important having maneuverability in a motorcycle is in a tight city setting like this. One of the things I wanted to highlight with that is I wanted to go around the Georgia Tech campus. Tight streets, cars everywhere. You want maneuverability here. And that is one of the major highlights that I've noticed with this bike. I guess it's the lightweight, the handlebar setup. It's just got so much going for it to make it a small and nimble motorcycle that's fantastic for little areas like this. And you start mixing that with the suspension being soft and comfortable, and it's kind of like the most ideal bike to have as like a college student, because it allows you to get to areas that, you know, maybe parking's tough and you can kind of like squeeze into little spots. But do you see how tight your freaking turning radius is on this? It's absolutely insane. And like, think about it. You want to park, right? Think about it. Like, whoop, you just pull over, you park up, boom, you're parked on the side of the road. Oop, you're done. I don't know. I kind of love this bike as a commuter for college motorcycle or something like that. That's one of the things that's kind of stood out to me as I've been testing this bike. Dude, check that field out. Holy crap. It has been a minute since I came over on the Georgia Tech campus. Things have changed up. We're just, you know, we're on fun exploratory mode. Why not? See, this is one of the cool things about this bike. You get a little thing like this, and you can literally just take it anywhere and check stuff out. Like, look, we can just explore. Probably going to get in trouble somewhere, but that's okay. You get in trouble, you turn around, you go the other way, you go through some chains. You go through 2 chains. Very cool little exploratory motorcycle. Oh, check it. Ooh, low bridge. Low bridge. Bro, look at that view. Wouldn't have found this had I not just been scooting around on the Triumph. Bro, that's sick. That's cool. Okay, hold on. While we're here, I feel like this is a thumbnail spot, right? Oh, that's super cool. So I'm gonna take the camera off my helmet, take a photo, and then put it back on, and then we'll get back to it. You know what, guys? I think while we're here, we should move the cameras to the back. You know, as I've been slowly getting into adventure bikes, there's a couple things that I really enjoy about adventure bikes. They're comfortable, they're fun, they take some of the seriousness away from motorcycling. I think, God, why do I feel like my head's about to nail that thing every time? But yeah, I feel like with a lot of motorcycles, they kind of make you worry about motorcycling. Motorcycling gets too serious with other bikes. Other bikes can get motorcycling feeling too dangerous, too like, this is so serious. But I've noticed adventure bikes kind of make it more fun and playful and enjoyable. Kind of like back in the day, you know, the Grom was the main bike to do that on. You get a Grom, and then riding around becomes this fun little, this joyous occasion, right? But adventure bikes are also doing that for me, and I'm feeling more and more as I put more miles on this bike that it just feels like a little adventure bike. It doesn't make me take motorcycling too seriously. I find myself just having a fun time on it. Now, I don't want you guys to think this bike is perfect or anything like that. This bike has got issues. My main issue that I have with the bike is that there have been situations where I'm cut off in traffic and I really have to slam on the brakes really hard, and I've just not really been happy with the braking performance on the bike. I really wish it took a step up. That's one of my main issues. I don't really care about the buttons. You know, it is a more cost-effective Triumph for sure. It's not trying to be anything other than that. But to be that, the buttons are not as fancy as other hardware on other bikes in Triumph's lineup. You know what I mean? So it's not the most perfect bike. It's very specific the way the power is put down. I think it's ample for what most people need to do. but it's not going to be a crazy exhilarating ride. But I think that's kind of the point with this motorcycle. Most adventure bikes are not like that either. They are just a casual, fun ride, and they don't try to be something crazy or exorbitant. I think that's kind of where I want to leave the 1 month review. Where I really think this bike sits is perfect beginner bike, very comfortable, very easy to ride. Fantastic second bike if you want a bike to just scoot around on, commute on, ride around city, maybe commute to class or something like that. Fantastic motorcycle for that. And then if you want all of the pros of getting an ADV bike, larger ground clearance, comfortable seat, upright body position, very easy to maneuver around, I feel like this is a fantastic option for you. So it's really interesting how many little slots it fits in the industry. I think Triumph did a phenomenal job, and they are selling these things like absolute hotcakes, and I totally understand why. Anyways, guys, that's the 1 month review on the 2025 Triumph Scrambler 400X. All in all, I really like this motorcycle. I think it's a solid piece of, it fits a good slot in the motorcycling industry. All right, dudes, as we're losing light, I'm going to keep going around and testing these cameras out. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I'll see you on the next one. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that kind of YouTube stuff. And I'm Chaseontwowheels, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.